She wrote his name on a piece of chalk, a message stain on the ground we walk. I miss your beautiful face, was what she said when she wrote his name with a piece of chalk. We read the names of the ones we've lost in memory of such tragic loss. It brings us comfort now to speak of them. So we read the names of the ones we've lost. These empty shoes that honor you will walk one day to another's truth. Remember, love still binds you to me, and these empty shoes, they honor you. Lift the silence, find forgiveness, and walk the road through your pain. Lift the silence, find forgiveness, and walk the road through your pain. She wrote his name with a piece of chalk, a message stain on the ground we walk. I miss your beautiful face, was what she said when she wrote his name with a piece of chalk. When she wrote his name on the ground we walk.
Hi everybody. I love speaking to people about the profound power we all have to make change in the world. And sometimes we discover those abilities in the most unlikely of places. This is actually the first time I've spoken about this with my daughters in the audience, so I'm not ignoring you, I just want to get through this. Each of our lives has been uniquely touched by tragedy. We've all endured great suffering, and it has altered the trajectory of our lives. We've lost mothers and fathers, we've lost sons and daughters, we've lost husbands and wives and partners and friends, and we've wept as we wondered what could have been. We've been overcome by grief in the most unlikely of moments, and we've smiled as we remembered the wonderful moments we shared together. So we're gathered here today to honor the memories of the loved ones we've lost, and we're here to provide comfort to one another. The tribulations we've all faced as a result of suicide have provided us with a unique opportunity to change the world. We've all been pushed to our limits and sometimes far beyond them. We've had the opportunity to square our shoulders and stand taller than we ever thought possible. And there were times we did, without a doubt. But if we're being honest, there's times we couldn't, because we didn't have the strength, or we were overcome by anger and resentment, or we were too exhausted, or we were overwhelmed by fear and sadness, or maybe it was all of those things all at the same time. We may have even made choices that we were ashamed of, or done things that we deeply regretted and made facing every one of our tomorrows more difficult than it needed to be. I did. I know exactly how that feels. I could never really admit or understand how deeply I was harmed by Cindy's battle with bipolar disorder and eventual suicide. I spent 6 years watching bipolar inexorably strangle the life from the mother of our daughters, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. I was powerless and terrified, and I felt alone a lot of the time, but I had to project great strength and calm to my daughters. And in refusing to let Cindy's battle with bipolar disorder consume them, I failed to see how it was consuming me. I was a man and a father, and if ever there was a time where I had to show it, this was the time. And to me, that meant showing how strong I was, which meant making decisions solely based on logic. Emotion to me was weakness, and if I let it metastasize, it would cripple my ability to be the man and father that my family desperately needed me to be, and there was no way I was going to allow that to happen. I didn't really talk to people about what was happening or how I felt about it, because that wouldn't do anything to make Cindy not sick. So therefore, I look at it as a complete waste of time. I had a wife to try to keep alive, and I had daughters to keep safe. My definition of strength weakened me in ways that took me years to understand. You know, we all feel every human emotion. I looked at emotion as weakness, so I tried to suppress them. Emotions actually add depth and richness to our lives, but I was afraid of them. So I tried to suppress them, but in my most trying times, they would crop up in moments where I least expected it. I would break down at seemingly random moments, or I'd blurt out my life story to the lady standing behind me at the grocery store. And every time that happened, I felt like there was cracks appearing in the dam. I felt like I was just so close to coming apart of the scene, so I did everything I could to suppress my emotions. And when eventually I couldn't do it myself any longer, and I turned to alcohol to do it. I used alcohol to drown my emotions, and it definitely worked. I drowned joy, and I drowned passion, and I drowned my ability to feel the deepest feelings of love. But those I only replaced them. I replaced those feelings with fear and self-judgment and pathetic rationalizations for some of the behaviors I was engaging in. Those behaviors insulted my conscience, they damaged my soul, and most tragically of all, they hurt my wife when she needed me the most. I ended up drinking every day, and I did all of the things that people who drink every day do. And I hated what I was, in a lot of ways I hated what I was choosing to become, but I just couldn't even admit it. I didn't have time. I was too scared. So 6 years after Cindy's death, I'm healing. I stopped drinking, and most importantly, though, I understand why I did in the first place. And my sobriety has created this space for me to be able to grieve Cindy's death. It doesn't matter how long or how fast you run, you can only run for so long. And when you can run no longer, grief will be right there waiting for you. And it turns out it was never something I needed to run from at all. It's a natural part of the healing process, and it allowed me to put Cindy's life and death into context, and it actually helped me to start loving her again. So, I finally found the courage to be able to look myself in the mirror and be honest and without judgment about who I see staring back at me. I'm just a man and a father, and when I was pushed to my limit, I did my best. And there were times I was a pillar of strength and character, and there were other times I fell miserably, miserably short. That part of my story has already been written. There's nothing I can do to change the past, but what I can do is reread my story to learn the lessons that I can then take to apply to help me create a different future. And I can retell my story so other people don't have to feel as alone as I chose to feel. And that is vulnerability. Sharing your story is vulnerability, and vulnerability is one of the greatest gifts that one human being can give to another. The irony is, it's in the moments that we try to hide from one another, the moments where we've made mistakes, the moments where we've done things that we're ashamed of, that we regret. It's in those moments, that our ability to be of the greatest service to one another lies. But we try to hide them. We're all human and we all falter, so it's time to stop pretending we don't. Because all it does really is isolate us from one another and make us feel more alone than we need to be. The best way that we can honor the memory of the loved ones we have lost is to take direct and personal action today to alleviate someone else's suffering. So tell your story and tell all of it. Don't tell the sanitized, heroic version that I told for so long. Tell the story where you don't know how you're going to get out of bed in the morning. How just getting through the day, trying to keep a loved one alive, seems impossible. How you are terrified to go to sleep because you know the nightmares that were waiting for you when you closed your eyes. Talk about the mistakes you've made, but also talk about the moments you're proud of when you did stand tall. And through it all, talk about the lessons you learned in every step of your journey. Because when you tell that version of your story, you will create a place of safety for other people to share their story with you. And it's in that place of safety where you will create relationships with people that are deeper and more meaningful than any that you have created before. When we are forced to navigate life's most treacherous waters, we crave a beacon so badly to help us find our way. Your choice to be vulnerable will shine a light exactly where it's needed the most. You will be able to tear down the walls and the shadows they create and replace them with windows to let the light shine in. So please, I'm asking you to share your story. It is the greatest gift you can give another human being. And when you choose to lay down your shield, you will become invincible. Thank you.